What's up, you guys? It's Kendall Arnold Fishing, and today we're going to talk about my favorite time of year, fall. Specifically, why it's my favorite time of year is because the fishing gets great. I'm fishing on the bank half the time, and those fish come up shallow, and they're stocking up. They're getting ready for the winter. Um, I'm on Kentucky Lake, so these fish have been offshore for since it got hot, since it got really hot after the spawn, and now they're moving up. They're getting ready to move up. Next few nights are going to be really cool. Next few days are going to be really cool, and that's going to drop the temperature. Um, and so let's just go over some of my favorite baits to throw during this time of year. First off, we're going to start with Strike King 1.5. This is a chartreuse color. I love fishing this crankbait. Whenever they get back in the pockets and stuff, man, you can tear them up with this. More specifically, during my last tournament, it really helped. It gave us our 5th fish of the tournament, and that really boosted my confidence. Even in the back of the boat, I still love fishing this kind of stuff. I've always been a power fisherman. I hate slowing down, and during the fall, you don't have to slow down a lot of the times because these fish are ready to eat. They want to eat. They're getting ready, and so this is my first choice. Coming up second, close second, is a lipless crankbait. This one's in another kind of a chartreuse. It's got that green on it. These Tennessee River fish, they really like that chartreusey green kind of thing going on there. I prefer a Strike King Red Eye Shad. This one's made by Cotton Cordell, and it's worked really good for me. It's got a really good action to it. I don't think it's as sensitive as a Red Eye Shad, but I'm out of Red Eye Shads right now, and I really need to stock up on those whenever I can. But yeah, next thing, these fish, they're stocking up on shad. They're eating shad. They're getting ready. That's the easiest meal they can find usually, next to like a bluegill, and then probably a crawfish would be next, I'd guess. I'd assume, at least here on where I'm at. So a lot of guys want a walking bait, a Strike King Sexy Dog. That'd be real good. In my case, I'm throwing a frog, actually. This is a Booyah Pad Crasher in the albino frog color. And I really like it because some frogs they have different colors. What's really important is the color underneath the frog, not so much the top. They can't see the top. And I consider this a walking bait. I can walk this frog really good on my 7.5 foot rod, with heavy action rod with a 50-pound braid on it, 50 or 65, it doesn't matter. But at least not to me, it doesn't matter. And so I walk this thing. Some of them have, like I was saying, some of these, they have the yellow and stuff on it, but I just want a solid white frog. It looks like a shad. They see it, if you'll see them busting, up in the water trying to go after them. Right now on the main lake, there's a ton of grass. It's matted up, and on the grass lines, you'll see shad jumping up all of a sudden, and you'll hear a big loud thud coming up, and it'd be a fish going after them, and they're not really big at all. They're not a whole lot bigger than this frog, but this is what I'm using to catch them, and it's working. As the summer goes on, or not the summer, fall, I'll be using this back in pockets and stuff, trying to catch fish the best I can. And so this will be a really key player for me this year. Not so much as probably the square bill and the lipless, but whenever they start busting, you'll see me throwing this thing. Next up, and I had a really tough decision putting this one here, or I had to make a really tough decision putting this as my 4th favorite, but a spinner bait. It's a really weedless bait. I use a white one. You can use a white and chartreuse. That works really good. This one, it's by Strike King. I forgot what it was called exactly. It's got a cool painted blade on it. I really like that. I don't remember the weight of it. If you need to add a weight, or not a weight, but a trailer to the back of it, what I do, and I don't do this really often because I don't find it necessary, but I'll take a fluke with a tail, paddle tail, and I'll cut off most of the fluke, the body of it, and I'll stick the paddle tail part, the last couple inches of it, on the back of this and make it swim. And that works really well. with the grass mats, they're going to start dying down with this cold weather and stuff. And the fish, they're not in the mats, but they're outside of the mats looking down. Like I have a few of them specifically. They're about this big around. And the fish, you'll see fish coming all over around it. I went to one of them yesterday and looked around, and there was bait all around it. And there was fish, but they were kind of off of it a little bit. They were a little far back, and I don't think they were up feeding on it yet, but they were there. Next thing after this, really love this, by the way. Next one, this one is it's related to the grass fishing part. It would be this is a yum woolly bug. I don't know the exact color. I always find them at Walmart and stuff, and they never put the colors on them. I know they sell them online, but I never look at them, or I never get them from there. It's got kind of like a greenish color to it, and it's a green-blue, and it's got like green flake in it, or blue flake. I can't tell exactly what it is. It's kind of a teal color, maybe, bright teal. And what I do is I Texas rig that, and if I can't I'll toss it around the mats, and if I can't get a mat or a fish to bite it around the mat, I'll toss it right in on it. Usually I'll use something like a 3/16 ounce weight, but if they're feeding right in the mat, which they will do at some point, I'll go ahead and get a 3/4 ounce or a 1 ounce weight and just punch it right through the grass and get a bite off of that, reaction strike or whatever. Alright, my next bait, this one, I don't really like using it around grass, but whenever the fish are, like right now, they're transitioning from deep water into shallower water, making their way there, and whenever they're making their way out too, whenever winter starts to get here, I'll use this. But this is a football jig. This one's in I think it's a half ounce. It's a half ounce. It's got a Berkeley Havoc Bobby Lane design. I forgot what it's called exactly. I use them all the time. I use them in the spring for Texas rigs and stuff, and the fish really like that. Anyway, whenever they're on their way up to the shallows and when they're leaving, I'll get around some chunk rock, some riprap, and areas where I know there's rock on the bottom, and I'll toss it down there. If there's a ledge, I'll definitely put it there whenever they're starting to head their way back. It's just a really good bait. I like fishing it. This next one is a finesse bait, or a finesse-y bait kind of bait. I don't really like tossing finesse baits during whenever they're moving up like this and trying to eat, but usually, I mean, you don't have to, because they're pounding away, and some of it all depends on where you're at, because I mean, you're either on them right now or you're not, and this is a good way to figure out if you're not or if you are. This is a Yum Dinger. This isn't the exact color I'll use for it, probably. I'd like something more like this. This is by Strike King. It's I don't remember the name of the color. It's let's see, smoky shad. So there you go, shad. This one is a pumpkin chartreuse worm. There's a chartreuse tail on it, and it has kind of a pumpkin body. I really like that. I'm going to fish this weightless, probably on a spinning rod, and I'm just going to see what I can do with it. Just pop it around these areas, especially where the grass is, if they won't bite, but I don't think I'll have, I usually don't have a huge problem with that. And my final one is something I'm not too into yet. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. But I just showed it to you. This is what I call a modified Ned rig. I made it. Well, I didn't make it, but I bought that. I couldn't find any mushroom heads at Walmart like a Ned rig needs, but I found these, and these are pretty cool. I take it has a little wire thing there to make it weedless, but I take that off most of the time. This one I'm not going to, just in case. But this is that shad color, and I think that'll do. This actual worm here will do pretty good weightless too, I believe, right now, because it's a shad pattern. It's got the glitter in it to make it, a little like a reaction strike, or like the scales on a shad. It's not something that they see in the way of lures all the time either. And that pretty much covers everything I can think of right now. Jerkbait might come into play towards the end of the fall. That's one that I'm also not really accustomed to. I have some shad wraps and stuff from last year, right after the classic, and I haven't got to use them yet. These square bills and stuff. I like you. That's my main bait, just my square bills. I really, really like this. A red. I found out something interesting. I always thought of red as a spring color, but it works really well in the fall too. I watched a documentary on crawfish, and they said that some of them do turn back red, that reddish color to them, and that's really cool to me. And this last year I used a red, and I didn't do great with it. I have a little ledge, it's up shallow, I can reach with my rods and stuff on the bank, and they wouldn't really touch it a whole lot. There was one day where they'd hammer it, and they wouldn't hammer the the chartreuse color, and I thought that was really interesting. But I'll try it again this year, see how it goes. I hope to get it on video, that'd be real nice. And that's pretty much it, guys. This is my basic. This is what you'll see me throwing. This is the exact stuff. Like, I don't do anything special. There's no secret bait that I have. This is what I'm doing. If you see me catching fish, I might not tell you exactly, or I won't show you which one of these I'll be using, but I'll be using one. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Also, real quick, one I didn't put on here was probably a medium diving crankbait. Something, shoot, hold on just a second. Here. One like this. I really enjoyed this one. I used this one last year a lot. This is by Cotton Cordell. They said it was a deep diver on the package. I can never find anything about it. I've looked online. I've looked on their site, and nobody will tell me anything about it. But I think it only goes to like 8 or 10 feet, maybe 10 feet at the most. I don't see it going that far. And I have all kinds of colors of these. I have a yellow, I have a red one. And then I have a whole lot of shad ones like this because they really like this one. I love throwing this one. And so that's pretty much it. That's everything I can think of. If they're not biting any of this stuff, I have no idea. Like, drop shot, I don't know. I don't want to throw a drop shot. I don't want to throw a shaky head. But yeah, I'll throw a Texas rig. I can deal with that. That's all day long if I have to. I don't care. And that's it. Like, so like, share, subscribe. It's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming in the future, and I want you guys to be a part of it. So thanks for watching, guys.